Hello everyone, and welcome to my EastEnders Media News channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Some readers may find the discussion of sexual assault in this article upsetting. Next week on EastEnders, several of our faves from Walford are in for a thrilling week. A thrilling two-hander episode starring Walford mainstay Patrick Truman, Rudolph Walker, will air next week. It will reveal the truth about Yolanda's, Angela Winter, horrific sexual assault at the hands of serial abuser Pastor Clayton, played by Howard Sadler. In another scene, Elizabeth Council plays George Knight, Colin Salmon, who is still grieving over the loss of his adoptive mother Gloria Knight, until he gets some unsettling news this week from medical experts. What follows in this week's BBC One soap opera storylines? 5 EastEnders teases for the next week. 1. Yolanda's ordeal is revealed to Patrick Truman. On Monday, Patrick's concerns about Yolanda, who is becoming more and more aloof and emotional, only intensify when Sonia Fowler, Natalie Cassidy, discloses that Yolanda missed her scheduled medical visit, which Patrick was unaware of. When Yolanda's loved ones discover that she is missing from the new food van launch, her passion project, Denise Fox, Diane Parrish, becomes increasingly worried. Consequently, Patrick inadvertently contacts her assailant, Pastor Clayton, who is the worst person to assist. The evil pastor makes a suggestion to Patrick that Yolanda might not be getting well, which causes Patrick to raise similar worries with Yolanda, who is shocked that he discussed her with Pastor Clayton. But on Tuesday, Yolanda begs her friend Elaine Peacock, Harriet Thorpe, to tell Patrick the truth because she can't bring herself to do it herself. Elaine tells a shocked Patrick over the phone what happened to Yolanda. Yolanda withdraws to the restroom after Patrick ends the call and tries to speak with his significant other. Yolanda rushes to restrain Patrick as he becomes enraged and goes to face Pastor Clayton in retaliation. After returning home, Yolanda at last confides in Patrick, and they talk about her terrifying encounter. In the end, Yolanda takes a significant choice and informs church authorities about Pastor Clayton's actions. When Pastor Clayton's past victims failed to obtain justice, will Yolanda be able to do the same against him? For assistance and backing about the topics discussed in this piece, visit Hourglass and End Violence Against Women.
2. George Knight receives a grave prognosis.
When his children tell George at the start of the week that his wicked adoptive father Eddie Knight, Christopher Fairbank, buried the late Gloria without telling him, George is horrified. George, who is having emotional difficulties, contacts Rufus, the organizer of underground fights, to set up his upcoming match. As this is going on, Gina, Francesca Henry, and Anna, Molly Rainford, take the initiative to plan a family memorial for Gloria. Anna even invites their half-brother, Junior Knight, who is still not on good terms with their father. But on the day of the memorial, Junior doesn't show up for his family, and George arrives with horrific injuries from his most recent battle. Things get out of control as George gets lightheaded and almost passes out. George's buddy Phil Mitchell, Steve McFadden, and ex-wife Cindy Beale, Michelle Collins, encourage him to visit the hospital after learning about the way he has been handling his emotional suffering. After being examined, George has a CAT scan, and the results reveal that he now has a brain ailment that is frequently associated with repetitive head trauma. George receives a warning with the diagnosis that he could die from another severe head injury. 3. Cindy Beale's secret keeping is revealed. Elaine and the girls are furious to hear about George's most recent fighting adventures and that Cindy was aware of exactly what had been going on, as if the diagnosis wasn't heartbreaking enough. But when Cindy returns to Walford, she sees George meeting with Rufus to set up yet another potentially fatal altercation. Gina and Anna, who are upset with their mother for lying, won't talk to her at first, but toward the end of the week, they decide to have lunch with her. Cindy promises not to let George fight again as they converse. George and Cindy have a heated discussion at the conclusion of the week, during which he furiously refuses her requests that he undergo online therapy for his trauma. George reconsiders after more conversation and decides to check himself into therapy. On the other hand, George eventually tells Cindy about his plans to have another fight with Rufus the following week while he is alone himself. Cindy gives George an ultimatum in response. Will it be sufficient, whatever it is, to convince George to back out of his potentially lethal fight? Next week, despite the efforts of his fiancée Honey, Emma Barton, to convince him otherwise, Billy Mitchell, Perry Fenwick, is steadfast in his desire for his estranged father Stevie Mitchell, Alan Ford, to have no contact with his family. However, Stevie meets his great-granddaughter Lexi Pierce, Isabella Brown, and grandchildren Will, Freddie Phillips, and Janet, Grace, in the cafe, and they are eager to get to know each other better. However, Billy is met with resistance from Honey again when he goes to the Vic in a fit of rage to warn Stevie away after learning about this lunchtime rendezvous. As the week goes on, Billy ignores Honey's entreaties for the kids to see Stevie and becomes enraged upon discovering that Will has met his grandfather in secret. Billy nearly loses control after a confrontation with his son for defying him, and he then starts to worry that he is becoming more and more like his abusive father. Billy's cousin Phil suggests that he get in closer contact with Stevie to find out exactly what he wants in Walford after the encounter. Billy asks Stevie what he wants when they go out for a drink, even though the idea unnerves him. Stevie says he's an aging, lonely man who wants nothing more from life than to be near his family. Ultimately, when Honey and the kids get home later, they are astonished to see Stevie and Billy there. Has Billy, Stevie's kid, really come around? Is he someone to trust? 5. Amy Mitchell finds her new buddy, Denzel Danes, attractive. Denzel Danes, Jaden Ladega, still fixated on his physical looks and fitness, schedules a training session with Ebony, Annika Whiston, a young female influencer. Naturally, Denzel's neglectful girlfriend Amy Mitchell, Ellie Dodd, is not happy about him spending so much time with another woman. Will Denzel be able to permanently push Amy away? There will be a plethora of new cast members joining, returning, and leaving EastEnders as 2024 progresses. Following the significant departures of Tom, Rocky Cotton from prison and Keanu Taylor's death in 2023, we can anticipate further significant changes for the Enders cast in the near future. Here's a helpful update from RadioTimes.com on who characters will be joining, departing, and returning to EastEnders in the upcoming months. Thanks for watching if you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and don't miss any updates.